Anyone who's followed my channel for any length of time knows that I have made several videos, some of my best videos, my most popular videos, about how wonderful it is to be single after being married for 20 plus years. And the whole Life Point 2.0 theme is just about that. Just the pure joy from the contrast of being in a painful, difficult relationship to suddenly being free to be who I am and to be autonomous and to call my own shots and to live my life my way. It's just the best thing that ever happened. It's hard to even really fairly put it into words that is accurately expresses my happiness with being single. But I know there are a ton of guys, and women too, out there who really struggle with the idea of being alone. And it's not even just the being alone part, it is the fear of loneliness. And that can be a huge problem because I think a lot of people end up staying in really bad relationships because they don't want to deal with that fear. In addition to all the wonderful things that I've talked about before in my other videos about just the physical aspects of being single and how wonderful it is, there is something else that I haven't talked about yet. And I guess that goes to the secret in the title of this video. And that's what I want to talk about today, because this is probably the most significant and important and hardcore value that came from me being divorced. And this has made the biggest difference in my life, not just on a day-to-day basis, but overall. My relationships, my finances, my peace of mind, everything really comes down to this one thing. So let's talk about it. Recently, the World Health Organization identified loneliness as a significant and increasing health hazard in the world. And I don't know how they come up with these statistics, but in major cities around the world, Western cities I'm assuming, 50% of households were single people. And from that data, and of course the number one disability or cause of disability in the world right now is depression and anxiety, probably in the United States. And they are thinking that because people are living alone, that they are lonely, and this loneliness is driving them to depression and anxiety. And unfortunately, they're probably right. But those people who are experiencing that depression and anxiety are really missing the opportunity to experience the cognitive benefits, the higher levels of consciousness, the higher levels of awareness, and the higher levels of emotional control that can come from embracing being alone and not calling it loneliness. Being alone and being lonely are completely different. In fact, they couldn't be any more different. Mastering the ability of living on your own and being alone is a gift that you can give yourself at any time by simply deciding that it's a choice. This is something that you're choosing to do. So when you are new in a relationship, you get all those fun neurochemicals as transmitters blasting you. You get the dopamine hit, which is the same kind of buzz you get when you use drugs or alcohol or you eat too much junk food. Get that nice, warm dopamine buzz. Nothing's better than that. And then you get the serotonin, this sort of general high feeling. You're just in a really good mood all the time. You're feeling really good. And then you get the oxytocin. You're like, oh, I'm in love. Ooh, all of those chemicals, they just feel so good when they hit your brain. Well, when you withdraw those chemicals, when you are no longer experiencing that, it's like a heroin addict breaking the habit. It's like you are coming down from this high. And it's very, very difficult for people to deal with that. They become extremely dependent on that that drug haze that they're in. That's why a lot of people, when they go through splits, they end up hitting the booze or the drugs or whatever, or they overeat. They're looking for something to kind of fulfill that void that now exists in their bodies. The truth of the matter is, everyone experiences that. I mean, I know that as a young man, the fear of being alone, the fear of being lonely, drove my behaviors until I got married. And I stayed in that marriage for a very long time, much longer than I should have, because of the fear of being lonely. Now, the actual act of being alone does not necessarily cause loneliness. Loneliness is a decision that we make. Loneliness is allowing ourselves to fall into the trap of feeling sorry for ourselves because we're alone. Part of it comes from society. I mean, from a very young age, we are taught that you're not really complete until you have a partner, until you're married, until you're in this social economic, what's the right word? Frame of what society wants you to be. And we submit to that society's frame for our lives, and we allow it because we don't know any better. Because as children, as we're growing up, we're just being socialized to this. Well, once you break free of it, once you break free of society's frame for you, and you start living your life for yourself, and you're no longer in a committed relationship, you will go through that withdrawal. You'll start to feel that sense of those neurotransmitters, those chemicals being out of your body. But you'll also notice that your thoughts, once you get past that, your thoughts become more in harmony with your inner awareness. So when you can hear your thoughts, I don't know if you guys have ever used a tuning fork, if you've ever had to tune a musical instrument. I played the guitar and I played the saxophone and some other instruments. But anyway, the guitar, we use a tuning fork, and you just bang it on your knee or something like that, and it'll hit a pitch. And as you tune the string, you try to get to match that pitch on the tuning fork. And until you get into harmony or into cohesion with that sound, you get this reverberation, this dissonance that is, causes you to know that you're not in tune. You can hear the difference of the frequencies. They're not in tune with one another. That's what being in a bad marriage is like. But when you're on your own, that dissonance drops away, and your thoughts become more in tune with who you are as a person, with your authentic self. And that cohesion, that harmony, that beautiful alignment of your thoughts and who you are is like a revelation. It's like it opens up your mind to the possibilities of what your life can be. And you, with the additional time that you have now, you have the ability to get really focused on the things that you really, really want for yourself. You're no longer concerned about this other person. They're not eating up all your emotional and cognitive bandwidth. You can put that cognitive bandwidth toward the things that you really want to achieve for yourself in your life. And you can finally reach some level of fulfillment in your life because you're not playing for anyone else. You're not trying to do something that someone else is asking of you. You're not trying to make anyone else happy. There's no more need for creating this level of harmony in your life. It just comes naturally to you. You're not dealing with that energy that is so chaotic with the emotions. You can create this very harmonious, enjoyable experience in your own presence, in your own time. And then the rhythm of your own life starts to take over, and you start to feel free of all those fears that held you back for so long. That fear of being alone, that fear of loneliness goes away. And then you're truly free. When you no longer need another human being in your life, you will be completely free. Until then, If you feel like you need that other person to prevent you from experiencing the loneliness, you're always going to be a slave to that relationship. That relationship will always own you. And that sucks. That's a shitty way to go through life. When scientists do brain scans on people who claim to feel like they have mastered the art of being alone, they find that these people are able to achieve higher levels of consciousness, and they have better emotional regulation. They don't experience the same ups and downs that other people do. They're able to calmly and coolly address any problem or obstacle or challenge that they have in their life without the emotional explosion. And they're able to navigate those issues and those problems with a lot more precision and a lot less expense. Emotional expense, financial expense, intellectual expense, whatever, relationship expense, they're able to just push through. I've mentioned, and I know some of you guys are probably watching football, and hopefully, Jaden Daniels does well in the National Football, Conference Championship this weekend. But that guy has got it. Like, he has that coolness. He has that cognitive awareness of who he really is and what's happening and what's required of him in that position. And if we can all operate with that level of coolness, that level of poise and intention in our lives, we can achieve great things too. I mean, the Washington Commanders are an average team at best. And with this rookie quarterback, I mean, he's a superstar. He's an absolute superstar. He'll probably be one of the greatest of all time if he continues to play the way he has. But it's not that he has a greater skill set than any other professional quarterback. It's his mental approach to the game that distinguishes him from other players. And it's just the same with you. It's not that you're better or worse than anybody else out there. It's your mental state. It's your mental approach to the game of life that distinguishes you one way or the other. And when you can master that mental state, you will experience greater results. You will be able to achieve the things that you want and attract the kinds of things that you want into your life. When I talk to guys about this issue, I oftentimes recommend that they just set a date. Say, give yourself 12 months where you're just going to live alone and see what it feels like. And use this time to do all the things that you ever wanted to do. Just use this time to do everything that you can possibly afford to do with the time that you have that you're not spending on a relationship. I have not had anyone yet come to me and say, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. I couldn't have made it through that. Every single person who's ever gone through that process, and they spent at least 1 year of being alone and embracing the aloneness of it, broke the loneliness addiction. They broke that cycle of loneliness. And they were much less likely to get into another relationship easily because they valued their alone time so much. And that's what the state you need to get to. You need to get to that place where you're just so happy on your own that the thought of bringing another person into your life just feels heavy. It's like, I just don't want to do that. It's just too much energy. I don't want to give up what I've got in exchange for whatever they're bringing. You know what I mean? You don't want to give up what you've got just for that, whatever that is. People who are really good at being alone, they've mastered the ability to be alone. Brain scans have shown that they have increased neural connectivity across their hemispheres, their brain hemispheres. If you've ever seen someone who is they call them a savant, someone who's a genius at something in particular, more often than not, or a lot of times, the reason why they have these genius abilities is because of the cross connectivity between the two hemispheres of their brain. The creative and the rational sides of their brains are able to communicate more coherently. And when people spend more time on their own, that cognitive interaction, that cognitive interconnection becomes stronger and more powerful, and more connections are made. Your brain has billions and billions of neurons, and each one of these neurons has thousands of different interconnections to it. These connections are made and dropped all the time. Your brain can make more and more interconnections between these neurons as you change your life and as you grow and learn and develop new things. And science has learned that you continue to grow your brain throughout your entire life. So this isn't something that just happens when you're a kid. This is something that can happen at any time in your life. It's called neuroplasticity. So when you're alone, you have the opportunity to increase the neuroplasticity of your brain and to create more and more interconnections between those neurons and even across the hemispheres of your brain. You can literally become a genius in whatever field that you choose if you can dedicate enough of your cognitive bandwidth to that task. When you're alone, you're limiting the distractions. You're eliminating that need for that emotional addiction or whatever it is. And you can dedicate so much more of your time and energy to whatever that task is. And that opens doors for you. That just opens up so many opportunities. And feeling lonely or getting wrapped up in the idea that you're unhappy because you're alone is just wasting that opportunity. It's just wasting this chance to become the best version of yourself. So I strongly recommend that you change your thoughts about being alone. It's not a loneliness thing. Loneliness is just the withdrawal from the addiction of the relationship. That's all it is. It's just a neurochemical reaction that you're experiencing. And then you're combining that with some reaffirming thoughts about how sad you are and all that shit. And you create this cycle of depression and sadness and loneliness. And it's just a waste of time and energy. So don't put yourself through it. Use this time to be your best self. Being alone will allow you to clear your head, define who you are as a person, and achieve the things that you want in your life. You can improve your brain function. You can improve your awareness of your life and what you want from it. You can increase your conscious ability to manage those subconscious issues that pop up from time to time. It gives you the opportunity to live a fuller, more fulfilling life. And that's what Life 2.0 is about. That's why getting a divorce is worth it. That's why being stuck in a bad relationship is destroying your opportunities. So don't cling to a relationship or wish for a relationship. It's just not worth it. It just isn't. If you desire at some point to have a relationship and you're really comfortable being alone, you will take that relationship on under different circumstances. You will have a different approach to it altogether. You will not put yourself in a position where you become dependent or addicted to having this person in your life. They will enhance your life like having that second TV in your room. All right, you guys, it is really, really cold out here. You can see the stream is frozen over pretty much, so I need to get inside. I don't want the dogs to be out here for too long. Please like and subscribe. Please share the video with someone if you think it will help them out. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay healthy, and if you can, stay single.